So if James Bond is dressed for killing, what is it for invisible selling?
Okay, you need to dress for invisible selling. Actually, undress for invisible selling. It's not what you think. Okay. Now, prior to 2008, or maybe before that, there is this big negative connotation to big businesses and to apparently sophisticated businessmen. For some reason, the outrage against big businesses was particularly more after 2008. And people identified people from unreliable big businesses with what they wore. So they looked down upon, or they looked suspiciously upon anybody who had worn things like a tie, a coat, and other stuff. To such an extent that brokerage firms in the US sent out emails telling people that when you're going out, please don't wear these obvious business flashy things because you might be lynched. Because the outrage was so deep against businesses or against certain type of businesses. So I think, and this is backed by research, the best way to dress is obviously you take care of the basics. Obviously you ensure that you are pleasantly dressed and you're smartly dressed and you're not very casually dressed, but there are some very, very specific things. Do not wear a tie.
A tie, which
Yes.
is like one of the most common accessory in the formal wear.
Yes, absolutely, because the minute you wear that, I mean, how many people wear a tie when they're going for a social occasion? Very rarely. The minute you see a tie, you usually have associations that this guy is going to be some kind of fast talker and he's going to just deprive you of your money. So it's anything that has a negative association with sales, with obvious sales, with pushiness, with businesses that haven't done well in the past in terms of caring for people, is to be avoided, and ties are definitely one of them.
So let's untie that part of
Yes,
it.
absolutely. So if you have ties, please untie them and get rid of them. The second is coats. Right? Avoid coats as much as possible. And let me give you a list of things. So it's just 5 things before I give you the reason behind it. So ties, coats, don't wear expensive flashy pens. Avoid overtly formal shoes, and don't carry a briefcase. I mean, that's the most obvious giveaway, right, that you're there to do business. There's all these cues make people think, oh my gosh, here comes a guy, he's going to try to sell me something, he's going to try to deprive me of my money. And there's actually hardcore research behind this. They had people who wore all of this business gear, like a tie, a coat, and all that. They had such a person talk to a large audience, and he spoke about a certain concept, and then they had another large audience being addressed by people who avoided all these obvious business cues like a tie and a coat. People found the second person more credible.
More credible?
Yes. Because they thought that this guy he's not there to tell us something, he's there to tell us something. He's just here to talk about some concepts, and maybe I like the concept, maybe I don't, but I'm going to pay attention when he's talking. Whereas if it's this guy with a coat and a tie speaking, then I tend to discount him. I tend to think, oh, obviously he's saying this because he's paid to say this. Obviously he's saying this because he wants my money.
Okay.
So
it's more like invisible dressing.
Absolutely. So that's why if you want to do business, then it's important that you do it in an invisible way. And what a more visible way to irritate people than to do visible selling by wearing clothes which visibly show a business intent.
So is that why it's become like viral in social media about how Steve Jobs or Facebook founder, like they wear informal, long neck,
Yeah, absolutely. So I think the biggest, so I mentioned one turning point, that was the 2008-2009 subprime crisis. The other big turning point in business that's happened is the IT revolution in the first place. Previously, you had all these stuffy business types wearing ties and coats. And then because of the infotech revolution, a lot of young people joined the workforce, and obviously none of the young guys like to dress up formally. And that had a huge cascading impact on the rest of the world. So that's again another reason not to dress up like an old-fashioned stuffy businessman, because number one, you had this IT revolution and you had the social media revolution. So now almost everybody in the world sees Mark Zuckerberg in that standard grey shirt of his. Everybody sees Steve Jobs in 90% of the photographs wearing a black turtleneck dress. So there is no association now between a formal dress and power or being an influential business person. People don't necessarily make that connection. In fact, it's the opposite. So that's another reason why plenty of people are not going to get impressed just because you wore a pant and a trouser, a business flashy trouser, a tie and a coat, because they're probably thinking, oh, even Steve Jobs doesn't wear that and he's a billionaire. So what are you trying to show? Are you trying to show that you're richer than he is? You have all these thoughts in people's minds.
So that's how powerful an association works, and that's how you should, dress.
Yes, absolutely. Even the smallest negative association can work against you. And you need to understand the non-verbal cues that you're sending out, which will put off people. So till the next video, don't dress for success, undress for success.